for me. So the first picture, oh, there's our title page. The first picture is a really kind of neat plant. April said she got it at the Huntington, so you might want to check there. I grew up with a regular old shrimp plant in my grandparents' yard that looked the colors of a shrimp. It was one of my favorite things in the whole world. So I'm very partial to shrimp plants. But this one is less common. And it's spread out through tropical areas in this band running from Malaysia and Sri Lanka all the way over to India and the Arabian Peninsula and tropical Africa. It is a subshrub, so it's a small little shrub. And I expect in this area, I forgot to check this, that it is evergreen, and I don't know what its hardiness is. The flowering is in summer, and it is a remarkable, cool blue-green color, as noted by April. I found online that it's being marketed as a house plant called Green Ice Crossandra. It's not really a crossandra, but it's related. And it is widely used in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and locations, some of which include, so we've got, it's an antioxidant. It is used for arthritis, fever, pain. The National Institute of Health, Institutes of Health in the United States did a study, and they verified that it does work as an anti-inflammatory. So this is one of those great, plant things that we are just discovering that has so many applications for helping human beings and being used as medicine. So very cool plant. So check the next Huntington sale to see if you can find it. Next, please. So this is not a rare plant. It's had its waves of popularity, and you should be able to find it in most retail nurseries, especially when it's in flower. And if not, ask your local nursery to order it, and they should be able to get it. April got hers at San Gabriel, which is a wonderful nursery. And Sbahinia galpinii, it's the picture doesn't do it justice. It's really a wonderful salmony pink. She describes it as a gangly shrub to 8 feet, and it will go semi-deciduous in winter with the cold. But that's when she gives it a big prune and then a small one. She's keeping hers controlled so it doesn't get as large. Grows in full sun, very happy. Not super drought tolerant, but not a heavy water user. So I'd say moderate to low, depending on how close you are to the coast. Very, very neat little bush, neat big bush. Next, please, Alexis. This is something I haven't seen in a long time. So this used to be fairly commonly available in nurseries. You may want to go in and look for it this time of year, and you'll find a little 1-gallon plant with a stake with this plant on it, and you'll put it in the ground, and a year from now it will have coverage your garage. So that's part of the charm and problem of this plant, is it is a very vigorous vine, but it has great attributes. It is such a butterfly magnet. It will attract all sorts of butterflies and hummingbirds and bees. So it's a really great if you're putting in a habitat garden. It does need some water, not really drought tolerant. Again, closer to the coast, you would need to water it less often, but it's going to need some kind of support, and it's going to be vigorous. And as April says, she cuts it back to the ground in January, and it roars back by summer. Excuse me, this is Laura. Laura did this. So where available, I didn't have anything specific, but again, you should be able to find it maybe. Used to be around. Next, and they gave it a new name. Go back for a minute, Alexis. So we've got Pseudogynoxus, Chenopodioides, So it used to be Senecio confusus, which I found out that Senecio is old hairy man, and it describes the seed pods. Anyway, so you'll probably find it under Senecio confusus. I don't think your local nursery will have it under that new, long, complicated name. Next. This is one of my favorite plants. We don't have that many vines in California, and this is one of them, and it's one of the prettiest and one of the most fun. So you will see this around the state, making its way, climbing up through big shrubs and trees and small trees, where its little leaves and then flower clusters can find the sun. And what's really neat about it is, I mean, the flowers are really pretty. It is a clematis, after all, and there's beautiful little white flowers that turn into these, both on both this species and the other that is in California, is wonderful little Horton here's a who seed pods. So and it is a perennial vine, and it'll look like it's taking over your toyon or something, but it won't. They will live in harmony, and this will die back. And let's see what else. She's got it climbing through her Ceanothus arboreus. And it's a sweet vine, really, really nice and easy to find at native plant nurseries. That's the chaparral clematis. Clematis is very, very British. Next, yes, thank you. So this is one of the easiest, and if I was going to make a list of 5 native plants that one should try if you're doing your first 5 plants, this should definitely be among them. Not only is it a wonderful floriferous little shrub, but this is actually the plant that has been used to hybridize and make the big sunflowers that we know and love so much. So it is native through Western North America, and it can get up to 10 feet tall, usually a little bit lower. And it is in a garden really easy to control because you can cut it back and just whack it back and start over again and have a more compact growth. Raised beds, but easily could grow in a dry native garden or just about anywhere. And this is so true. The flowers are also nice for cutting. It attracts lovely amounts of pollinators, and available at Growing Works Nursery and then other native plant sources, and probably a lot of regular retail nurseries at this point. So a wonderful plant for any beginning or experienced native plant gardener. It should be in every garden, not just every native plant garden. Next, please. So this is from Alfred Hockenmeyer's garden. We're going to finish with a couple of things from his amazing garden, which was in early May, the site of our incredibly popular and well-attended Coffee in the Garden. And we're going to go back to Alfred's, maybe not this fall, but the fall after, to see what's happening. It's a 12-month garden. It's amazing. Anyway, I don't know how he gets all this stuff in there. Including Cumbratia fruticosum, the orange flame vine, which gets pretty darn big. It's actually like a liana, like a wisteria, that makes these huge, ropey, heavy, woody stems, especially at the base. So, but he's got one in his garden, and I can't quite see what it's climbing, what it's on here. But anyway, wonderful, wonderful thing, and really, really cool flowers that hummingbirds adore. Flowers throughout summer, average water, drought tolerant, once long established, even in the San Fernando Valley, and he's pretty got it hot there. So he says hard to find. So I would watch like the botanical garden sales, especially like the Huntington or the Arboretum, and see if you can find the Arboretum used to routinely have it at their sales. So those would be the 2 places I would look for it. And I didn't check whether San Marcos Growers is growing it. If so, you can get it through your local nursery. You have to ask them to order from San Marcos. So next, please. This is another really wonderful California native plant that this is a little tricky for beginners, although it's one of these plants that, people that don't know it's supposed to be hard, they stick it in the ground and it does great. So, you can be fussy and sometimes it's happy and sometimes it isn't, but it's woolly blue curls, Trichostima lanatum, lanatum because it's got the wooliness on the flowers especially. Um, the other common name, which we forgot to put up here, is Romero, because when the Europeans came here, they thought it looked like rosemary, which indeed it is related to. What's significant and wonderful about this plant is the fragrance. The leaves and the flowers, but especially the foliage, have one of the most amazing fragrances in the California flora. And so if you have decent drainage, or if you don't have decent drainage, I would tell everybody to try this plant because, it's just one of these things that if it's happy, it's happy and it lives a long time. Um, and everybody needs to try it. I would definitely plant it in the fall though, because it does not like summer water at all. So put it in the ground in November or December, give it some good regular watering to get it established, and then by next June you can cut back on the watering until it gets cool again, and you'll have this gorgeous thing in your garden. Um, and you should be able to find it at most native plant nurseries. It does sell out when it's in stock, but ask them to get more if they're out. Next, please. Also from Alfred's garden, a female monarch butterfly sitting on Asclepias fascicularis, which is one of our native milkweeds in California. She's actually getting nectaring on this, but this is the Asclepias are not just nectar plants for this butterfly and many, many others, but they are the food plants for the monarch caterpillars. So it's really important to put some milkweed into your garden to make sure that you can support the monarch populations. Do know that this little perennial thing will grow up to about 3 or 4 feet, kind of spindly, a lot of little upright stems with very pretty flowers on the end, but it will die back. So it dies back for the winter, which is a little what we're not used to here. So what you want to do is you want to plant the plants in April and get them going through the spring. They'll flower in the summer, and then when it starts getting cool, the whole plant will disappear. So make sure you put some rocks there so you know where it is. Great habitat plant. So many different butterflies will come to this along with other things and other insects. And what did Alfred is saying? It's noted by the diversity of pollinators that visit it. What's important to know about this plant is it does spread. It gets about 3 feet high and looks like a nice little clump the first year, but then it will, on rhizomes, spread out and make quite a big patch if it's happy in your garden. Next, please, Alexis. And here's another great shot from Alfred's garden. Thread waist wasp, that's hard to say, and Eriogonum grande variety rubescens. So what I will read, so you probably won't get to the bottom on this. This is a wonderful little mounding perennial, about 1 foot tall by 3 feet wide from the Channel Islands, with very pretty flowers. These are a little past their prime. The color's a little off on them, as if they're going to seed. But Alfred is noting in here that this wasp hunts grasshoppers that it paralyzes, and then it stuffs them into a pre-dug hole, lays an egg on top of the paralyzed prey, and then seals up the hole, so that when everybody hatches from when the wasp egg hatches, it has instant breakfast and is able to develop and then chews out through the soil and comes out in a new hole. Anyway, this is the wonderful nature that's happening out in your garden, and it sounds a little gross, but I would bet that most of you had some chicken for dinner or something like that. So this is how we all exist on this planet, and fascinating story about the wasp. So this plant is wonderful. Give it a little shade if you're inland, full sun if you're along the coast, And I've seen them even in full sun inland, but a little tiny bit of afternoon shade would be good. And do we have any more, Alexis? We don't. Great. So I want to thank everybody for sending stuff in for the plant forum, and we encourage you to do this. I'll go back one, Alexis, or I guess I can. We want to encourage you to send in pictures too, or bring plants to the meeting. So if you're coming to next month's meeting, we'll be live, which means we'll have all the little jars set out with all these live cuttings and flowers from plants. So we'd love you to bring stuff in. And for any other meeting that we're Zooming, we would want you to send in a photograph. And if you go to our website, go to socalhort.org /plant-forum, you will find out more about submitting to the plant forum, because we actually do ask that you fill in all kinds of neat things about the plant and where it came from. But if you don't know, even if you don't know the name of this great plant, get it to us anyway, and people in the society will identify it and find out where it help you fill in all of those blanks about where it came from, et cetera, because the more the merrier, and we want a diverse selection of plants from different gardens in different areas where our members live, and we know that you're out there. So